Yo, Counter Attack podcast for myself, Daps. Guys, keep liking, subscribing, sharing, all of that good stuff. Right. So, what's been going on since I last spoke to you? This week's been an interesting week. It's been a very, very interesting week. Man City are at the Champions League. Good game. To be honest, over the two legs, I felt like the first leg was I'm going straight in, by the way, with this podcast. We've got quite a few topics. So I feel like the first leg was good because both teams were good and it was a really, really good game, end to end. Really, really good, high quality game. The second game was good because Madrid just took Man City apart. And I couldn't believe what I was watching when I was watching that game. Man City they just look like a shadow of themselves. Do you get what I'm saying? They almost look like they've written off this season, and that, you know, it's 1 year on or 6 months on from them winning last season, and they just look like their legs are gone, motivation has gone. So, and when you achieve so much and you play at such a high level for so long, the wheels have to fall off eventually. And this season, I just think the wheels have fallen off. And they've made a good couple signings. I know Kusanov has come in. They got a centre midfielder. Totally forgot. Is it Gomez? One of them names. Mamouche has come in, and you know they look like they're planning for next season. They look like they're getting the players in now. You know, give them a couple months to settle in, and the next season we'll see them. I think Kusanov has had a torrid start to Man City's life at Man City. Sorry, I think when Kusanov first came in, he probably thought, yeah. I've seen it on TV. Pep's giving him the talk. He's giving him the trust. He reckons he can do it. First game against Chelsea has a horror show, of course. Since then, he's not really been great when he plays. But obviously, he needs a settling in period. And the last thing you need as a young defender when you're trying to find your feet and settling in has been a bit rough is Madrid and Mbappe in that form. Because Mbappe, Vinicius, it's almost like they looked at Kusanov and just said, yeah, this is easy food. And they absolutely just targeted him, ripped him to shreds. And what made it worse that he wasn't getting any help. He was just isolated all the time. And he's definitely getting an education in football at the highest level with the Premier League and Champions League. Well, now they're at the Champions League. But I did want to touch on Mbappe. Pause. For a quick second. I think what Mbappe is showing now is that he's settling in and he's starting to show the Madrid fans, or to show the general people watching football, that he is still that guy. I feel like he's almost like he's taking it personally in terms of, you know, the criticism he got at the beginning of the season, and rightly so. But he's on a hot streak now. He's scoring goals. He's impacting play, and he's looking like the Mbappe that everyone knows he can be. I also want to talk about Bellingham. Jude Bellingham. I saw a clip of someone talking about Jude Bellingham. It might have been Culture Cams. And for me, honestly, I've been saying, hopefully I always say I'm going to put up the tweets, but hopefully I'm going to put up the tweet where I talk about Jude Bellingham, because I'm forever saying Jude is that guy. And I think a lot of the time people forget his age. I think he set such a high standard for himself that if he falls below that standard, people almost look at him like, oh, you're rubbish. And they judge him by a different standard than they do other players. And I don't see many other players in terms of at that level, at such a high level, in his position, impacting the game like he does. Do you get what I'm saying? In terms of his position. And I think we're incredibly harsh when it comes to him. Whereas I look at him and I'm just like, you're 21 years old. And you've got that trust, you've got that presence in the team, that responsibility in a Real Madrid team. We're not talking about Dortmund. We're not talking about Birmingham City. We're talking about Real Madrid. You've got that much trust. That much trust has been given to you. That much responsibility has been given to you. The fans look to you. The players look to you. And we're not talking about small players. We're talking about the Mbappes. We're talking about the Vinicius. We're talking about the Modrics. Like, they look at you as if you're one of the senior players, as if you're one of the main players. And for you to be doing that at 21 years old for Real Madrid, I think it's crazy that anyone could look at him and almost like talk down on him. Like it's wild. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, people don't just play for Real Madrid. People don't just like garner that attention and garner that responsibility whilst backing it up. Now the thing is, because he is only 21, he's gonna have, the ups and downs. And in those down moments, I think that's when people are like, see, you're not all that. But for the most part, his life at Madrid for him has been good. He had a couple months at the beginning of the season and till the back end of last season, actually, where he wasn't quite at it. But those things are going to happen when you're developing. We've just seen Dembele and, score, and he's on a hot streak right now. And there's this whole thing about players reaching their peaks later on. Players ain't reaching their peaks at 21, generally speaking. And I know people like to say that it's going back to how it was, but it's never changed. When you look at the players who do well, when you look at the players who kick on, it's very rare you find a player who at 20, 21, that's their peak. Do you get what I mean? For the most part, I'm talking about in terms of footballers in totality, not just the niche of the Premier League. It's very rare you meet footballers who at the age of 21, 22, they're the finished product. No, a lot of these players, they come into their own when they're like 26, 27. And I don't think that's ever changed. But the way football's gone, it's become a young man's game to the point where, when players are developing and they're not on form or not on 100, we just rubbish them and say they're rubbish. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if I'm being honest, to use as an example, Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay has gone to Napoli, having a blinding season. He's having a really, really good season. That's not because he's out of this world, or whatever, and it's not because the Italian league is easier. It's because, well, it might be easier than the Premier League, but also when you come to a certain age and you know the game and you've got experience, you just become a better player. So yeah, that's what I want to say about that. Man City out. There was something about Man City that I wanted to say as well. No, that was it. They got Liverpool up next. I'm really, really hoping that they get something against Liverpool, because Liverpool have had 2 draws, Everton and Aston Villa, which was a very, very good game. And hopefully Man City can somehow manage to get some sort of points from that game, because I can't see it with the way Man City are playing, but you just never know. You just never know. Liverpool are giving away chances, but they've got that thing about them where they're just so dangerous. And Mo Salah, I know everyone says it and it's not news, but the way Mo Salah's playing right now, it's not even fair. Like, you just know there's going to be a goal contribution every single game. And he's doing it like it's personal. Mo Salah is playing like, oh, you didn't want to give me the contract. You don't think I'm worth this. Oh, people have been talking about me. People are saying that I'm not as good as Thierry Henry. People are saying I'm not one of the greatest the Premier League's ever seen. Okay, it's like he's taking it personal. And boy, I can't see outside of, even outside of Salah, you've got Jota, who only needs 1 chance. I know it didn't quite happen for him in the last game, but and then you've got Gakpo. Is Gakpo injured? I think he might be back. I don't know if he's injured. But anyway, you got Gakpo who's chipping in. And then you got Nunez. I was wrong about Nunez, guys. I'm going to say, Darwin Nunez, I was wrong. I thought that once he settled in, he would be a problem. But he is a problem, but not the good kind of problem. He's the problem where on a good day, he might need 2-3 chances. On a bad day, he might need 2 new feet, because he's just, it's not going to work for him. And I really thought that he would like become better, once he knew the league, once he got settled. But I just can't see it. That chance he missed the other day against Villa, like, that's not out of the norm for him. And I think that's the worry. He will score and get a couple goals here and there, and they're always like the harder chances. But the ones that he should be scoring and he doesn't, it's not a surprise. And I think that's the worrying thing. And I think Arne Slot will look at that and be like, yeah. Or he's looked at it already. He probably already knows. Do you know what I'm saying? Even when you saw how when the team were clapping the away fans against Villa, and he was by himself just walking, just head down, like he knows he's gone at the end of the season, I reckon. And he's just not good enough. But that does lead me on to my other point. And when I look at football and I look at teams, so like Arsenal need a striker. There were talks about Ollie Watkins coming in, and obviously right now they need a striker, just because, not even like a top striker, they just need someone that can actually play that position. But it made me think that back in the day now, title winning teams and teams that were challenging for Champions Leagues, they had numerous strikers. When you look at Arsenal back in the day, you had Henry, you had Dennis Bergkamp, you had Sylvain Wiltord, you had Kanu. When I look at United, they had Tevez, they had Berbatov, they had Rooney, they had Ronaldo, they had Saha. When I look at Man United of old, they had York, they had Sheringham, they had Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they had Cole. Do you know what I mean? Even Chelsea, back they had Drogba, they've had Torres, they've had Anelka, they've had Shevchenko. Like, why have we come away from that model of having to only have one good striker? Do you know what I mean? I think for you to dominate and actually challenge and actually, go on and win, you need to have a stable of strikers. Do you know what I mean? There's always that one striker that can come off the bench, make an impact. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was really, really good at that. Jota is really good at that. And that's why Liverpool are where they are. Yes, Salah is having the season he's having, but they've also got players that can just come up and just score and just in those moments. Jota, Gakpo, they're all contributing. And, when I hear people saying Ollie Watkins ain't good enough for Arsenal, I'm like, mate, you do know that Ollie is good enough for Arsenal. I'm just going to say that. Yes, you want strikers who might be better or whatnot, but when you look at what's out there, Ollie is okay. For people to be asking about, I find it crazy that people are asking about Sesko and they want Sesko before they want Ollie Watkins. Like, that's just me, innit? He's proven in the league, he's a problem. He always notches against Arsenal. He notched against Liverpool the other day. Like, why wouldn't you want him in your team? But the point I'm trying to say is that if Arsenal were to get Ollie Watkins, that would be it. Like, why do they not stack their striker options with 3 or maybe even 4, like good strikers in the squad? Why have we come away from that? And I was just thinking about that the other day, man. That you really do need, 3 minimum top strikers. Strikers who can, you got your main striker that's just going to bang the goals in, 100%, 20 goal a season striker. But then if you can get another 2 that can chip in with 8 to 10 goals, outside of that, 12, 13, that's a good return. And I don't know why football has come away from that. Even when you look at City, when they had Aguero, Julian Alvarez, and Julian Alvarez was there with Haaland. Like, that's 2 top class strikers. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just don't know why that's not a thing anymore. I think they should go back to that, because that's the way you win, especially with a team where defensively you're good. Just get the strikers. Get the strikers who, if they score 3, you could score 4. Just for years, that's what Liverpool did. For years, that's what Real Madrid did. Arsenal did it. Do you get what I'm saying? But yeah, I just was thinking, wondering why we've come away from that. What's next? Ademola Lookman. Listen, this whole Ademola Lookman thing, the reason why it's annoying is because at least the last 12 months he's carried that team on his back. And you can say he hasn't, you can try to downplay it all you want, but it's fact. It's not opinion, it's fact. And for you to be that guy and, be the African Player of the Year. He got Atalanta their Europa League trophy last year. He did. Do you get what I'm saying? I know it's like a team game, but he did in that final. He turned up. He's rescued them so many times. And for the manager to call him out like that and say he's the worst penalty taker that he's ever seen. I think he's only missed 2 penalties, Fulham and that one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's only missed 2 penalties. So for the manager to come out and say that publicly and single him out, it shows a lack of respect. It's that whole shut up and dribble thing. It's that whole, just do what you're told, and like it just stinks. And for me, anyone that can do that to you, where you have to come out and when you have to come out and make a statement like defending yourself, it just goes to show that for him to have to do that, there's stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Do you get what I'm saying? So, listen, for me, Ademola Lookman, I don't really see a way that he can stay there. Imagine having to play for the rest of the season, and your own manager, who should be protecting the players, is basically pushing you out there. You know what I mean? And flamesing you up. Forget that, man. He needs to go. And if he was to go, there'll be plenty of suitors for him. And I'm talking about top teams. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that one bit, especially when he was asked as well to take the penalty, and it stinks. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think any of the players have come out to support him. I don't like that. I don't like that. The manager should know better. But then again, you're only as good as, your last moment in this game sometimes, and the manager all of a sudden just forgotten who he was talking about, and maybe he's an easy target. And I'm actually glad he came out and said something. And if you know anything about Ademola Lookman, his thing isn't to come out and just be talking like that and having to put statements up. No. But at some point you have to defend yourself, and you have to say, no, that's not what is going on. So yeah, I just didn't like that. Right. Last couple subjects. Let me see what I'm going for. Last couple subjects. Aston Villa, yes. I was looking at Aston Villa the other day, and we all know Unai Emery is really good with cup competitions. That's his thing. And I was looking at his team, and he really has assembled a team capable of this. I'm not going to say they're capable of winning the Champions League. Well, anyone's capable if you're still in it. But definitely capable of upsetting a few teams. When you look at Ollie Watkins, you look at Rashford, you look at Asensio, you look at Marlon, you look at Morgan Rogers, Morgan Rogers is definitely a problem, by the way. 100% a problem. You look at Tielemans, you look at McGinn. They've got such a good setup, and they're definitely going to give a couple teams problems in that Champions League. Like, you're not going to look at Villa and be like, yeah, that's the team I want, because especially at home, they can give you a bad day. The only downside is that they've got a couple injuries in defence right now, and Tyrone Mings coming back from injury. He does look like he's coming back from injury. He does look like he's only ever one turn away from really hurting himself. And he looks like he's playing within himself. So it's not a case of him not being good enough. He just looks like he's cautious about getting injured again when he plays. And and Boubacar Kamara, I can't forget him. So I just wanted to say that, because they've got a really, really good team. Rashford's looking good again. Even like the players coming off the bench, you've got Ramsey. I mentioned Boubacar Kamara already. Yeah, man, they've got Leon Bailey. They've got a really, really good team, man. And, what they did well was they got the money for John Duran, and rather than just going out and panic buying, they just made some smart loans. Rashford and Asensio, very, very smart loans. So, big them up, man. They're doing well. Last thing I want to say, I ain't got Vaseline today. My lips just feel like they're getting dry. Last thing I want to say is, I saw something about Jacob Murphy maybe switching and representing Nigeria. And I didn't even know he was Nigerian or had Nigerian in him, number one. But if that is true, listen, I don't care if he's 29. Because I saw some people in the comments saying, what will you do with a 29-year-old? So you'd much rather a 21-year-old? That's rubbish. No, like, he's good. and he would definitely add value to that team, because Jacob Murphy, he is on stuff and he's under the radar. And if Nigeria were to somehow persuade him, or if he didn't even need persuading, I would 100% say he should be involved with the Nigeria national team, because he's a top quality player. And the more top quality players you have in the team, the better your chances are. And this is a Nigerian team that is already stacked with talent. So imagine you can even add to that. It's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer for me. You have to include him. You have to. And whilst we're here talking about having to include, you have to include Cyril Dessers as well. You know, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting seeing the next Nigerian squad. I know there's people here saying, "Oh, we don't care about Nigerian squad," like all my non-Nigerian listeners and subscribers. But this is a nice top. This is from like 2020. No, this is from 2013, 2012, 2013, I think it is. But yeah, but that's it from me, guys. Keep liking, subscribing, sharing, and yeah, until next time, we're out. And also, if you know anyone that's good, or if anyone's listening that's good with clipping up, you know, videos and everything, come and join the team, man. I'm looking for someone to just clip up the videos for social media, and yeah, let me know. Get at me on Insta. We out.